A 114-year-old dam in Converse County is starting to crumble. A school bus driver in Gillette is facing reckless endangering charges. And GOP's support for Trump hasn't waned in Wyoming. We'll take a look at these stories and more today from Wyoming's largest news organization. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily. The clock continues to tick on the 114-year-old Lal Dam in Converse County, which was supposed to have a 50-year lifespan and is starting to crumble. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that just the design phase of a years-long project to replace the dam is almost 30% finished. But should the structure fail, the resulting deluge could threaten downstream homes, rip through a key bridge along I-25, and destroy Ayers Natural Bridge Park.
There's some pretty significant geologic landmarks there. There's a state park there that would just get wiped out by this thing, and so that would be a big loss.
For now, the dam's flaws have limited its holding capacity, which in turn could hurt the irrigators who depend upon it. A school bus driver in Gillette is facing 9 misdemeanor reckless endangering charges for speeding over a bump in an intersection, causing minor injuries to some students on board. 25-year-old Sharessa Joseph voiced remorse over the incident in a Thursday interview with Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland.
A sub bus driver in Gillette was having fun with the kids. These are students aged about 12 to 15. They were seeing how fast they could go over the bumps, and the kids were getting in the back of the bus and kind of enjoying it. But on November 2nd, some of the students were injured, a couple of girls bit their lips. There were some with bumps on their heads. A girl twisted her ankle. And so she is now charged with 9 misdemeanors of reckless endangering, 1 for each student.
Joseph told Cowboy State Daily she was very remorseful and expressed concern for the students. A recent mail-in poll by the Wyoming Republican Party finds that GOP support for former President Donald Trump has not waned. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson reports that the poll showed that 70% of the 226 people who responded expressed support for Trump in the upcoming 2024 election, which is less than a year away.
Trump won 70% of the vote, which is very consistent with how he's won Wyoming in past elections. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was a second-place finisher, but he had significantly less votes than Trump. He only had a little bit more than 10%. So it shows that Trump's support in Wyoming really has not waned hardly at all among Republican voters.
In third place was former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley with 5%. One voter expressed support for independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'll be back with more news right after this.
No one should go hungry on Thanksgiving, and yet hundreds of men, women, and children from our community are homeless and hurting this holiday season. Yet you can provide hope. Just $2.58 provides a hot meal and life-changing services at the Wyoming Rescue Mission, like safe, welcoming shelter, support, and long-term recovery to help them get back on their feet. Learn more and give online at wyomission.org. That's wyomission.org.
The ex-boyfriend of a missing Cody woman was arrested Wednesday evening, but not in connection with her disappearance. Katie Ferguson was traveling back to Cody from Alabama with her 2 children and her ex-boyfriend, Adam Aviles, on October 10th when she vanished somewhere around Little Rock, Arkansas. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland has the story.
She vanished, and Aviles and the kids made it back to Cody without her. Recently, people were posting on Missing People of Wyoming and Facebook and trying to drum up some attention for her disappearance. But then on Wednesday evening, Aviles was arrested on unrelated charges.
Aviles was arrested on suspicion of drug delivery and unauthorized use of someone else's vehicle. The Cody Police Department did not immediately respond to Cowboy State Daily's request for comment. And no, despite what a Wyoming atlas might say, the Sheil Brothers Ranch in Albany County isn't a real place. What initially seemed like a case of 19th century gender bending when the ranch was founded turned out to most probably be a misprint in the Delorme Atlas and Gazetteer of Wyoming, according to Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines.
In the 2009 6th edition of one of the atlases that came out of Wyoming, it was a typo in there, and they called it the Sheil Ranch, the Sheil Brothers Ranch. And we have a reader who bought that edition and just thought it was hysterical and did some research and found out that it was just a typo. That's not what the ranch is actually called.
Vince Meyer of Cheyenne, who noticed the misnamed place in the atlas, told Cowboy State Daily he assumes that was the result of either a simple typo or a bored cartographer messing around with that page. And that's today's news. You can get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on CowboyStateDaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.